set free, be made whole. In the name of Jesus Christ, be set free completely from that body. I cause cancer in your body. I cause ovarian cysts. I cause fibroid. I cause diabetes. I cause that leukemia. I cause that blood-related disease. I cause that sickness at the root and at the seed. I command the seed and the root of that sickness crushed and destroyed off your body. Right now, blind eyes open, deaf ears open, dumb mouth be unstopped, open, and begin to speak freely. Be set free, be made whole. Paralysis, go! Stand up and walk and begin to do what you couldn't do. Epilepsy, you spirit of epilepsy, you are bound and you are cast out of that body. Out! In the mighty name of Jesus. Be healed, be set free. That heart palpitation is gone. In the mighty name of Jesus, be free. That knee problem is gone. I command life into all your ligaments and joints. Be made whole. I bind the spirit behind that rheumatoid arthritis. Be gone in the name of Jesus. Be healed. From the crown of your head to the soles of your feet, I set you free. In the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, whose I am and whom I serve. Be blessed in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you very much for listening to this anointed message, and I believe it has blessed you. At this juncture, I want to give opportunities for those who want to surrender their lives to Jesus Christ, those who want to make heaven. Heaven is real. Remember, hell is real. Choose heaven. And to make heaven, you need Jesus into your life. Salvation is not automatic. You have to ask Jesus to come into your heart as your Lord and Savior. Say this prayer with me. Remember, life without Christ is full of crises. If you are not saved, you are not saved. Say this prayer with me to receive Jesus into your life. Lord Jesus, I give you my heart today. I accept you as my Lord and Savior. Forgive me all my sins and write my name in the book of life. Thank you for saving me. Amen. You are blessed. Keep making progress.
Thank you for tuning in to our broadcast today. I believe you have been blessed. Please send your testimonies of divine encounters you have received to the number 0809 578 0265. 0809 578 0265. WhatsApp only. Or visit us at www.lgpmi.org and join our social media platforms on Instagram, Sonny Cookie Ministries, on Facebook, Sonny Cookie. For more inquiries, call the number 0703 518 2285 or 0706 381 3013. God bless you.
In the Holy Book of Super, chapter 93, verse 3, the family that listens to Super FM, they stay together, and so shall it be. Super FM. Super FM.
On air and online, this is Super FM, Nigeria's #1 lifestyle talk and urban radio station.
Tired of the lies? Tired of the spin? Are you ready to hear the hard-hitting truth in a comprehensive, conservative, and principled fashion? Point Blank on Super FM 93.3 brings you all the news you need to know. Real conversations, real news, and one-on-one interviews with some of the most intriguing names in River State, South Nigeria, and the country today. Unbiased analysis the way you wish still existed.
They're damaging the economy of the country. I'm not bothered about whether federal government is supporting us or not. Because if you cannot protect the lives of your people, then there's no governance.
From the news that dominates the headlines to the important topics below the fold, left, right, and center busts the opinion bubbles and echo chambers with genuine discussion and real talk.
Out of $500 million that President Goodluck Jonathan borrowed for Abuja, Kaduna. At the time I was speaking, we were paid over 100 and something million out of the $500 million.
Tune into Point Blank with Segun Owolabi every Saturdays 8:15 a.m. on Super 93.3 FM. Point Blank, civilized yet provocative. Tired of the lies? Tired of the spin? Are you ready to hear the hard-hitting truth in a comprehensive, conservative, and principled fashion? Point Blank on Super FM 93.3 brings you all the news you need to know. Real conversations, real news, and one-on-one interviews with some of the most intriguing names in River State, South Nigeria, and the country today. Unbiased analysis the way you wish still existed.
They're damaging the economy of the country. I'm not bothered about whether federal government they are supporting us or not. Because if you cannot protect the lives of your people, then there's no governance.
From the news that dominates the headlines to the important topics below the fold, left, right, and center busts the opinion bubbles and echo chambers with genuine discussion and real talk.
Out of $500 million that President Douye borrowed for Abuja Kaduna, at the time I was speaking, we were paid over 100 and something million out of the $500 million.
Tune into Point Blank with Segun Owolabi every Saturdays 8:15 a.m. on Super 93.3 FM. Point Blank, civilized yet provocative.
Hello and good morning to you. Thank you so much for staying with us. You're listening to Super 93.3 FM Port Harcourt. And this is Point Blank. Point Blank is a news and current affairs program airs on the station every Saturday. On Point Blank every Saturday, we look at the big issues and we bring those who matter into the studio, discussing topical issues and getting perspective into all of these issues. It is sometimes very, very combustible and sometimes very argumentative, but the desire is to enlighten the public and also give in-depth information on issues being treated. And thank you so much for joining us this Saturday. My name is Segun Owolabi. Now, remember, every edition of Point Blank is an opportunity for you to also join in the discussion and also share your view with us. So we're live on social media. Follow us on all our social media. On Facebook, we're live at Super 93.3 FM. Follow us on Twitter. This program is also live on Twitter at Super FM PH City on Twitter. On Instagram, we are live at Super FM PH. On Twitch, we're live on Super FM PH, while on YouTube, we're live on Super FM PH. Now, don't forget, you can also listen to all of our program on Super 93.3 FM Port Harcourt by downloading our online application. Go to your iOS store or to your Play Store and download the Super FM Global application. Click on Super 93.3 FM. And you can follow us, listen to all of our show anywhere in the world. Once again, greetings to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, we also have conversation on telephone lines. We will tell you about the telephone lines and also the WhatsApp. We have great segments for you this morning. First, let me inform you. Later on, by 9 o'clock, Prince Douye will be joining us. Prince Douye is a very popular politician in River State. He's a philanthropist and an industry. And recently, his movie 77 premiered at the Cannes Film Festival. We'll be looking at moving from politics to business and now to an international film producer. What all of that means for River State-born politician and governorship candidate at one time, Prince Douye. That will come up by 9 o'clock. But right now, we're discussing River State. And we're discussing issues going on in River State. It is quite true that reconciliation is ongoing in the political feud in River State. And a lot of people are applauding the reconciliation, while some people feel that the reconciliation is lopsided. However, some critical stakeholders have warned that external interference may jeopardize the needed peace we desire in River State. And one person has been very, very vocal and is also alleging that the governor of Bayelsa State is fueling his secret interests by allegedly misleading Governor Fubara on the feud between Segun Owolabi, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, and Governor Fubara. And my guest this morning will be clarifying on all of these things. And my guest is one person who is not afraid to ruffle feather and is urging Bayelsa and the Ijaw nations to align with the APC. But that is not all. He has also publicly accused the Bayelsa State Governor of being meddlesome interloper in the Rivers politics, alleging that the governor's interest in the Fubara-Wike conflict is part of a hidden agenda linked to a 2027 vice presidential ambition. How correct is all of that? My guest this morning is already seated. Let me tell you a little bit about my guest. In 2013 to 2017, he was the president of Joint Youth Council, IYC Worldwide. 2009, he was Secretary Bayelsa Security Economic Development Committee member. In 2018 to 2019, he was Honorable Commissioner for Youth Development Bayelsa State. In 2019 to 2020, he was Honorable Commissioner for Environment Bayelsa State and also served at the national level. When in January 2021, he was appointed Special Assistant on Youth and Sports to the Interim Administrator, Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, and was reappointed as a Special Assistant on Youth and Sports to the Acting MD, Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, from 2022 to January 2023 until the board was eventually dissolved and reconstituted. My guest aspired to be the governor of Bayelsa State on the platform of the Labour Party in November 2023. And today, brace up as I'll be having a conversation with someone that I said young but politically charged. My guest today is Engineer Udens Eradiri, Fellow, Nigerian Society of Engineers. Good morning, Engineer Udens Eradiri.
Yeah, Segun, good to see you. Good morning, and good morning, River States and Niger Delta.
Fantastic, good to see you, and you're looking very fine. I mean, well, have you been all these years? The last time after your election, you contested Labour Party, you decided to abscond. Did you jackpot?
No, I didn't abscond. You know, I'm a practicing engineer, and I do two things, politics on one hand and my profession. And so when they show me paper for election, I had to go back to my profession so that I have bills to pay. I have a family to look after, and you have to be responsible first to your family. So I had to go back to work to raise the money that I have lost and then continue to take care of myself. It's very expensive to maintain somebody like me. No politician can do that. So I work very hard to sustain myself and family. So I had to go back to work.
So, and it's good to hear that. So again, let us begin with all of this. You know, you are one man that's not afraid to ruffle pedal. Now, you have publicly accused the Bayelsa State Governor of being a meddlesome interloper in the Rivers politics, alleging that Governor Douye Diri's interest in the Fubara-Wike conflict is part of a hidden agenda linked to a 2027 vice presidential ambition. A lot of people are hearing this. This is a bit strange. When I saw the headline on the national newspaper, I said, how could this be? Perhaps you want to explain more to us about that.
Well, first of all, when I say meddlesome interloper, Governor Fubara comes from a political family. When former Governor Wike was choosing Governor Fubara today, there was nothing like no Ijaw people gathered. Nobody. It was within those people that had worked together. I'm sure that even Bayelsa State Governor had never heard the name Sim before. Wike single-handedly made this governor, from preparing him, working with him over the years, to the point where he handed over to him. Nobody. All these actors, this one come here, say this, say that. Nobody knows Wike more than Sim. Sim knows Wike's attitude in dealing with issues. Sim knows that Wike is a very frontal person and a man who does not close his eyes to anything that goes by. So he should have, over these years, built his own mechanism to managing this, his boss. And when Wike decided to collapse every other interest, because there were so many interests, to choose Fubara, there was no other person. But all of a sudden, there is a conflict. You see all kinds of individuals stepping in. People who have issues with Governor Wike are the ones claiming to love Sim. They don't even know Sim. It has nothing to do with Sim. It's about personal interest. Is that personal interest of what they want to achieve, or personal interest to settle scores with former Governor Wike, and then decided to jump into the ring? And unfortunately, and I say unfortunately, Governor Sim forgot where he was coming from and decided to allow these people. And I think that is a high level of incompetence that was displayed. So Bayelsa State, those elders and all those people, IYC and all the John Nation trying to ethnicize a political issue, have no business. They are all meddlesome interlopers in this matter. And so for me, I had made that position clear. When I said it, there's no kind of abuse they did not. In this part of the world, when you express your opinion, they say you are hungry. They say I'm looking for Wike's validation. I'm looking for money. There's something they have not said. So if you speak your mind and the truth, of course, thank God you have known me for over 20 years. You know the kind of individual I am when there are issues. But I have always maintained that they are personal interests. For instance, look at the PDP. This whole problem is a PDP problem. And that's why I said, look, I'm a member of the APC today. Why should a PDP crisis be my problem? Wike, PDP. Douye Diri, PDP. Sim, PDP. Joshona, PDP. The meetings that created all these problems, PDP. And let's not forget the foundation. Betrayal from these so-called governors. We all agree in this country that elections are north and south. The north did their own 8 years. When it was time for the south to do their 8 years, now we're not talking about candidates anymore. We're talking about regional politics. Southern governors, after agreeing that yes, we will work for the south, they quickly mingled in a clause into the PDP agreement and said, no, let's leave it open, because they knew where they were going. Betrayal. I don't know where
Engineer Udens, if I may interject, I apologize for interjecting, but again, you have said it, that Douye Diri is PDP. Governor Sim is PDP. If Douye Diri decides to assist in ensuring that we have this reconciliation, at what point do you think is a meddlesome interloper, and you think that this is all about, allegedly, that a personal ambition to become the vice president in 2027? What better way or what smoother way would you have suggested for the reconciliation of this feud?
Okay, let me just round up where I was. I was talking about the interest in the PDP. The South agreed that it was their turn. Governors of today went and betrayed it. And then one man who was part of them and made that agreement said, no, we agreed on this and that's where we'll stand. That is the bane of the whole conflict in the PDP that have snowballed to this crisis we are seeing. Don't also forget that if the North produces a president, the South will produce the vice. And who is likely to be the vice? I haven't boggled the Delta State COA's term. Bayelsa has the oldest governor amongst the PDP. Bayelsa, of course, you heard what Obasa just said. For you to win an election in Nigeria, you need Bayelsa, you need Delta, you need Rivers, and you need Akwa Ibom. So you have PDP in Akwa Ibom, you have PDP in Bayelsa, you have PDP in Delta, and of course, Rivers. So who is amongst them the most mature and the oldest? Bayelsa State Governor. He is the only one that would have benefited from that northern presidency team. So it is only in that interest that it is good to hold River State, if you cannot hold Akwa Ibom and Delta, hold River State, that is a sister state, so that the funding can be available. And this is the foundation of this conflict.
A lot of people will say what you're suggesting is conspiracy, that he doesn't really want.
It's conspiracy to be able to hold partnership to fund that election. But thank God all that have collapsed today. And that's why you are seeing that even the peace process is now beginning to make progress, because the reality is now dawning on the actors that, look, that hidden agenda will not see the light of the day. But when you talk, your question was that, look, they are Ijaw governors.
Yes.
Yeah, Ijaw governors, you must collaborate. But to collaborate in such a manner is to be in the middle and see how you can also use your relation. Don't also forget that Bayelsa Governor is a huge beneficiary of Wike's benevolence.
How?
Wike supported the Bayelsa Governor from the first election when he lost that election. If not for Wike, he wouldn't have been able to succeed at the Supreme Court. I was a commissioner, I know what was happening. In the last election I participated, the Bayelsa Governor went to kneel down to beg Wike and took the forces And I must commend Wike, because all the people that today are claiming to be friends of Wike are people who have betrayed him in the past. So it means that Wike has a big heart of always forgiving people who betray him. He took power from Wike and won me and Silva in an election. No, not Silva. We went into an election. Wike supported him financially, supported him with materials, supported him with government institutions. So to even today come and say that Wike is not the devil, it means that he's not a grateful individual. That alone is not Ijo-like. Ijo means truth. We are a people who stand firm on what we believe in. Once you begin to display these tendencies, you have betrayed the Ijoness. So for you to support your fellow brother, Governor Sim, was to use your relationship that you have benefited from through Wike to say, leader, please, let us manage this thing in-house. So forgive your son. Not to play the role of, oh no, we are Ijo people, we will not agree. This Wike is too much, we will fight him. Where are all the people who were beating the drums? Now that I advised earlier that the governor Sim should go back to his political foundation, and thank God, I want to commend him for doing that. You can see that there's peace, but the governor needs to go beyond just going to see Wike, because my ears are on the ground and I hear that he's not carrying out this reconciliation properly. Governor Sim must start going to all those elders that he has offended. People like OCJ Okocha, words that were used against men like that, people like Odili on both sides. But it is Governor Sim's responsibility to go back to his support-based elders, apologize to them for bringing this issue up, and then use them to start reaching out to the other elders and going on his own. Sometime in the night, you just go and knock this man's door and kneel down. He will chase you away on the first day. But he's a governor. That authority will always come to play if only he will humble himself and go and reach out to these people.
Well, fantastic. I will come back to you on that. If you're just in, you're listening to Point Blank, coming to you from Super 93.3 FM Port Harcourt, and I'm having a conversation with the governorship candidate of Labour Party in the governorship election in Bayelsa State, Engineer Udens Eradiri, fellow Nigerian Society of Engineer. He was two-time commissioner in Bayelsa State, he was president of Ijo Youth Council, and he was Secretary General of Ijo Youth Council, served several positions. And in a recent interview, Engineer Udens Eradiri feels that the role Bayelsa State Governor played in the political feud between ex-IYC Nyesom Wike and Governor Fubara was that of a meddlesome interloper. And he said many people do not realize that Governor Douye Diri was playing the role because he has an ambition to be the vice president of under the People's Democratic Party in 2027. And we're asking him questions in that. And also we're asking him how best could Governor Douye Diri have intervened, knowing fully well that Governor Douye Diri is an Ijo man. Would it be wrong for an Ijo man, a Ijo governor, to support a fellow Ijo governor? How should it be done? We're sitting on that, but don't forget, we'll be throwing open the telephone lines. Telephone lines are open on 07050 07050791021 and 08117431021, as well as 07073350623. Again, 07050791021 and 08117431021 and 07073350623. Female callers only, and on WhatsApp it is 09059481021. Those are the telephone numbers. But before I take the calls, let me come back to you, Engineer Udens Eradiri. Again, what I hear you say is that the involvement of Governor Douye Diri in the political feud between Wike and Fubara disrupted what could have been a smoother reconciliation process between Fubara and Wike. Am I correct?
Yes, because as a beneficiary of Wike, I expect that the governor with the authority, especially from Bayelsa, should have stepped in. He had benefited from Wike, so he's in the better position to say, please, this matter, look at it the other way. He's also in a better position to call the assembly members, especially the Just Talk, because the INC also created this this seeming disunity that they were trying to create between the Ijos and other ethnic nationalities. We are not domineering. It's just that we are the majority in the Niger Delta, and then any little thing you see our face. But we need to manage our conduct so that we don't create this animosity that is seemingly everywhere today. He could have stepped in and not fan the embers of ethnic politics. This issue is a political crisis and has nothing to do with ethnicity. I'm a former president of the Ijaw Youth Council, and from the day one, I had warned that this matter, this is not the way to go about it. We can engage, we rather can reach out to Wike, because amongst all these so-called leaders, none of them, I repeat, have supported the Ijaw nation more than Wike himself.
How? Tell me how you think Wike supported the Ijaw nation more than them.
I was former president of the Ijaw nation when the 95.5% statement of the former President Buhari, and then we saw all the heat on the Niger Delta. Tell me, is this not the same Wike that we were all celebrating as a leader? A man who stood fearlessly to protect us. What happened that all of a sudden Wike is now the bad person? Wike stood for us as IYC president. Even when you go to leaders and say, look, okay, we have this thing, what do we do? They will all shy away. Wike stood in our most trying times. When President Goodluck Jonathan was embarrassed from the national politics, it was Wike that stood to try to give him some strength. And today we have forgotten all the role that Wike played. Bayelsa Law School was to be removed because our governors did not invest in our infrastructure. Wike came and spent over 5 billion in Bayelsa Law School. Bayelsa Medical University, over 500 million hostel facility in that place. And then personal relationships. Virtually all the jobs that you find in major political positions today in the government came through the benevolence of Wike, the governor of Bayelsa State in the election. One, because Wike came and supported him.
You know,
so if you look at the ratio of support, Wike has been more of an Ijaw man than any of all these people who claim. But again,
could the Ijaw leaders have been wrong? Because I've listened to your interview, and this is the reason why we're having this conversation. I've listened to what you said on national TVs and I've read your interviews on national radios, and I'm thinking, what exactly is Engineer Udens Eradiri looking for? Is it that you want something from the FCT minister? That's why you're towing this part, going against your leaders and some of them your fathers.
I'm not going against them. I'm just being truthful. First of all, I had worked with Wike in the past when I was the Ijaw Youth president, and I believe that when a man stands for you, my grandmother warned me, any hand that feeds you, don't bite it. Wike had supported me in the past, and I will not also sit down and see things go wrong and keep quiet. You know me, at least you know that I'm not a man who is a sycophant. I don't do that. And again, all these people, they keep claiming that I'm looking for Wike's validation. Tell me who does not want Wike as a friend. Tell me the person. Tell me who does not want Wike as either his father or godfather or a political leader. If they don't want me, then I want. But you see, that has nothing to do with the issue at stake today. Don't forget that in 2007, I was Secretary General of Ijaw Youth Council. The feud between Amechi and Omeya, before you knew it, crisis started in River State. Ijaw areas, you cannot pass. Presidential hotel, guns were shot in presidential hotel, in marine base, in town. Before you knew it, Ijaw elders gathered and called for a state of emergency in River State. The IYC I led that time said no, that it was not, that the Ijaw leaders should go and call Ijaw youths to order, because the areas of insecurity in River State were the Ijaw areas. So don't come and use that small incident to now call for state of emergency in River State. That time too, they said I disrespected elders. I said we were staying in River State. I stay in Port Harcourt. We know the issues. Deal with the issues politically, and don't come and use it and ethnicize it and create problems between Ijaws and Ikwere people. This last incident, assuming the Ikwere people said, okay, Wike is our leader, the way you people are going about it, we too will not agree. Do you know the conflict that would have arisen in Rivers State. So for me, I am coming from a background of knowledge of what happens in the Niger Delta, and I will not keep quiet. And that does not mean that I am looking for. I live in Abuja. I also operate. I have capacity. I have quality to add to any relationship I have. At the time I was working with as IYC president, I had to meet with Wike. I brought value to the table. And if I'm going to have any relationship with anybody, I bring value to the table. So if people think that I'm looking for Wike's validation, yes, is Wike a bad person? Why shouldn't I be a friend to Wike? A non-entity that I will go and be friend to. Somebody like me should be having good relationship with people like Wike. But I also have that. I have access to him. I can reach him when I want. But I think that I'm more engrossed in the things that concern me and my development, adding value to my personality, so that when anybody wants to relate with me, you relate with me because I have value to add on the table and not on the basis of the psychophancy. Fantastic. The issue I'm raising here has clearly nothing to do with wanting to meet Wike. But like I said, who here does not want to be a friend to Wike? Segun Owolabi, you know, want to be Wike friend.
Fantastic. Let's leave it at that. Engineer Udens Eradiri, two-time commissioner in Bayelsa State. He was a former IYC president and former secretary general of IYC. And of course, he was the governorship candidate of Labour Party in the governorship election in Bayelsa State. He's a fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers. And he feels that Governor Douye Diri was wrong in the way he handled the feud between Governor Simlai Fubara and Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, ex-IYC Wike, describing the activity of Governor Douye Diri as that of a meddlesome interloper. And he feels that ethnicizing political ethnicity has serious consequences. And I'll be speaking to him on that. But quickly, let's come to the telephone lines. 070-5079-1021. 081-174-31021 and female callers only 070-733-50623. Those are the numbers, and you can send us a comment on WhatsApp 090-5948-1021. Do you agree with Engineer Udens Eradiri that Governor Douye Diri's assessment or his closeness with Governor Simlai Fubara was for pecuniary interests? Let's get your reaction. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Thank you for joining us, Point Blank.
Thank you. My name is Muriel. I'm the Okrika woman.
Muriel, good morning.
Thank you, sir. I love the fact that you asked your guests, in what ways has the former governor helped the Ijaw nation? Now, I think even bringing into this matter is a total distraction. In fact, this is what politicians want. So let it be a Ijaw, Ikwere fight. And you see that the other parts of the state will not hands off. They will not think, okay, just an Ijaw matter. This is a Rivers matter. And if someone says the governor should go and kneel down and beg, initially they will chase him out, he will come back. Will you dare say that to Governor Wike when he was a governor? Will you dare say that to an Amechi when he was a governor? And now you sit down and you say the governor of a state should come down and meet you and kneel down and beg. Remember, this is just one man's opinion. It is not even the opinion of the FCT Minister. The FCT Minister have not said it. Just one person that wanted to kill a Rivers son in the public glare of the Rivers people came back and said the governor should go and apologize. He needs an apology. So who will apologize to we, the Rivers people? Do you know what this crisis has cost the Rivers people? Do you know what this crisis has cost the civil servants of this country, of this state?
All right.
And you're telling me that governor should go apologize and do this and do that?
Okay, woman, thank you so much.
To the Rivers people?
Thank you so much.
It's unfortunate.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'll take another one. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Segun Owolabi.
Thank you so much for joining us.
I am Prince calling you from Abloma.
Good morning, Prince.
I don't know. I am just trying to use the right word and address this matter because I'm not happy with your case in the studio here.
Engineer Udens Eradiri.
The whole governor of the state, that is, he supported Tinubu to suspend the governor of Rivers State. And that man is in the studio, clapping and dancing That's it, Skelewu, because the governor of the state, instead of him claiming to be a good person, to tell the governor, to tell the president and whosoever that suspended the governor to return back the governor of the state. And it is dancing because this thing happened. A governor should go to do what? The same way they voted the governor in, that is how they voted any other governor, including the president.
All right.
And this man is in the studio. I'm very, very much ashamed for him to be a
again,
father.
that's his view. That's his view. Engineer Udens has a right to his view, and you have a right to yours. Let's take this one. Good morning.
Yeah, Segun, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, my name is J.A.J. and I'm calling you from Port Harcourt right
J.A.J.,
now.
good morning.
Yes, let me greet your guest in the studio.
Engineer Udens Eradiri.
Exactly. It's a man I followed keenly, and when he was NDDC Special Advisor on Youth, I think that position and all those, I followed him, even as IYC and all those, I've been following him. He's a man I admire. But today he fall my hand. Eradiri, if you were the governor of Bayelsa State and this type of infraction happened, so you would crawl on your knee from Tombia roundabout down to Governor House begging Bayelsa people, I don't understand. And from what you have said so far, it shows that you are so disconnected from the real cause of the Rivers crisis. I live in Rivers State here. We followed everything, and we know what really transpired. Eradiri, do you know Sir Dr. Peter Odili? Do you know Ada George? You know a whole lot of big names, including the one from Bayelsa, Goodluck Jonathan, who tried to intervene, but one man stand and said, no, chapter has closed and all those. From what you're saying, you are so disconnected from River State, and you don't even know the real trouble. So for me, trying to go and blame Diri and all the, what do you expect Diri to do? When people don't want to listen to anything, you think people don't make any move here to say, settle this matter?
All right, fantastic. JJ, thank you so much. JJ, I will come back to
giving bitterness to Diri. Diri tried his best to settle everything, but I don't know. So for me, I think if you want to contest really, not trying to paint somebody in bad light. We want to go and kneel down and even watch him, mold his image and watch him. Fine to you, but don't drag Diri into this matter. Thank you.
JJ, thank you so much. You're listening to Point Blank. I'm having a conversation with a two-time commissioner by Bayelsa State, a former IYC President General. He was Secretary General IYC. He also served in NDDC. Engineer Udens Eradiri, fellow Nigerian Society of Engineers, and he's of the view that the role the governor of Bayelsa State played in the feud between Minister Nyesom Wike and Governor Fubara was that of an meddlesome interloper, and he feels that Governor Douye Diri has a secret ambition. Now, let me come back to you, Engineer Udens Eradiri. You've heard the callers, and some of them are angry with the fact that you said Governor Sim should go and beg Minister FCT Wike. Do you think they're correct?
Okay, first of all, I want to commend the president for stepping in to stop the impeachment of Sim and then give the environment that have led to the peace process that is on. What I have maintained and continue to maintain is that Governor Sim should do more to engage all those who were involved in the process, because he's coming from somewhere. He's a governor today doesn't mean that he didn't come. Somebody made him governor. You know, people are being emotional. Now, the time that they suspended the Sim, all the people who said heaven will fall in Rivers State, where are they? All those who were fanning the embers, where are they? What role are the said friends and all those who are sympathizing and angry? What role did they play to resolve?
But again, don't forget, Okrika woman asked you a question. Who will apologize to Rivers people? The Rivers people are the one who buried the Bronx.
I'm coming to that. When they finish the internal issues, the same way the time that they were working together and Wike chose Sim, none of all of us were involved. When they finish that internal process, the both of them will come and apologize to Rivers people. I think that we should even be happy that Wike tried to stop Rivers money from being spent in the forthcoming PDP 2027 election. Do you know the indebtedness of Delta State? I have information that most people don't have, so it is easy for people to come and express themselves. But I tell you that whatever has happened, I've saved River State resources as well as Niger Delta monies that would have been wasted again in the 2027
Perhaps
election.
you need to tell us more about that. Tell us more about that. How has it saved Rivers people money?
My brother, you saw in the last election where the indebtedness that Delta State is involved in as a result of Okowa being vice presidential candidate to the PDP presidential candidate who is taking the position of the South. People are forgetting that this matter is truly a PDP issue. It's an issue that is deep-rooted in the politics of People's Democratic Party. So when people are leaving the issue and going to be emotional about it, I will never be moved by that. There is an issue of 2027. Who funds the 2027 election? In the last interview Obasanjo, the former president, had, he said, you must have Rivers, Bayelsa, Delta, and Abia State to win presidential election in Nigeria. And what does that mean? It means that the monies of Rivers State must be involved in the politics. You know how much Rivers have lost in the last elections. Today, there's an administrator who have been barred from spending monies. And I know that with the peace process going on, Sim will, in no distant time, return back to government house. What I will appeal to all those asking me questions here and there is that, please, let us leave all these our emotions that we are dragging in. This is how, when the peace process is on, you start seeing comments that come from individuals that have nothing to do with the core of the issue. And sometimes those emotions affect the process. I will still maintain that Governor Sim should expand this peace process. It is the onus lies on him to go back to the elders, get the Odilis, get the other judge and all the other big leaders, and then go and meet the same elders on both sides.
Now,
because don't forget,
but you see, one thing that you've said that people don't agree with is the fact that you are calling on an elected governor to go and beg. I mean,
my brother, the elected governor is outside now. What are they? What's happening now? Is it not the same time and this thing that is happening? They have used superior authority and power on you. You will stoop to conquer. Forget about the issue of governor is no longer here in discourse. We are talking about a calamity of an impeachment that would have occurred even in the midst of all this political ejaculation going on. A process began because the governor, not understanding issues properly, allowed himself to fall into a trap. The destruction of that Rivers Assembly, which is Rivers State resources, is at the foundation of some of these problems that he has found himself. The not having the capacity to battle political wars properly, and then you step into something you don't understand, is the reason why he has found himself.
So if I hear you clearly, are you alleging that Governor Sim does not have capacity to handle this current situation?
A governor must have capacity to deal with official issues and unofficial issues.
How do you mean?
You must have the capacity to dispense political authority in and outside government. What we have seen now shows that he didn't have the capacity to manage the assembly. That for 2 years, you could not get more than 4 people on your side. When the issue rose in Lagos State, how many elders did you see and governors jumping into it? Because it was a problem between the Lagos State Assembly and governor and their political family. And in no distant time, that same political machinery was used to resolve the problem.
Okay, so you have suggested...
they allowed too much. I think the governor allowed too much of interference from people who didn't understand the foundation. The meeting between Governor Sim and Wike that led Wike to drop all the other interests and pick him. Only 2 of them know. He knows. He should go back to those issues and deal with them so that we don't start shouting here about the governor and no governor. Whereas the governor there outside, nobody have been able to solve that problem for him. But since he started going back to his political family, you can see that there is light at the end of the tunnel. The president, I am even hoping that by May 29th, by grace of God, he will return back. But to do that, he must show that he genuinely wants to make that peace for the sake of the same Rivers people, so that we don't sit down and somebody from another state is dispensing our resources and authority.
Udens Eradiri is two-time commissioner in Bayelsa State, a former Labour Party governorship candidate Bayelsa State. He was IYC President General and IYC Secretary General, and he feels that Governor Siminalayi Fubara must show capacity that he can handle both political and unpolitical issues concerning River State, and he says he believes that Governor Siminalayi Fubara will return to power very soon, but he must demonstrate that he is sincerely and genuinely ready to move River State forward. Now, we'll open the telephone lines. I'll be asking him more questions, and again, the telephone number is 07050791021, 081-174-31021, and female callers only 070-733-50623. And for WhatsApp voice, send us 30 seconds WhatsApp message in your voice, your name and where you're calling from. Send it to 090-59481021. Let's take this call. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello. Hello. All right, we lost that, and we'll take this one. Hello, good morning, and thank you for joining us. Point blank.
Yes, Segun. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I greet your name.
Thank you.
Morning, sir.
It's
Yeah, this is Lugaman.
Lugaman,
from Eche.
you have 30 seconds, Lugaman.
Yes. Yeah, Segun, I am disappointed in the statement made by your guest.
Now, again, just leave what the statement has said. Leave the guest alone. Focus on the issue.
Yeah, the issue is that, in politics, when you are falling apart with your governor or whosoever that is in charge of your state, I don't see anything that will make you to speak good of that person. That is what I'm seeing your guys doing. On the issue of telling the governor of River State to go and apologize for the people mentioned by Chief Lloyd, for me, it's not here nor there. You want to ridicule the office of the governor.
All right.
Then apologize for what?
All right, Lugaman,
yeah.
I have asked Engineer Udens Eradiri that question, but again, you feel that asking the governor to apologize is to ridicule the office of the governor. We'll be speaking on that. Let me take another one. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Thank you so much.
Hi, Shegu. This is Wabi Donobo.
Wabi, good morning.
Morning, Udens. I greet you, my brother.
Yeah, Wabi, good morning.
Shegu, I think one of the major problems here is that in Nigeria we mix politics with emotions so much that this is a political platform. You guys are having a political conversation. What Chidi Lloyd said was a political statement, and the governor of River State used politics to get to his seat. Now, there always becomes a problem when the normal man on the streets has to have a political conversation, because the normal man will not understand politics. Now, why people are suffering is that the politicians have neglected the people. So complaints that should be going around are complaints directly to the politicians, not to a political process. Like Uden said, there was a system that brought SIM to Government House. I was part of the system because I was on the opposition, and all we could shout was that in every rally, Sim was not saying anything. Initially, we thought that, or I personally thought that he didn't really have anything to say, but now I actually see that, okay, he's a very sharp guy. But when it comes to politics, there's an issue. He wasn't saying anything then, we were complaining. A set of people brought him to Government House. If those people have an issue with him, the only place he can solve his problem is not from public opinion. The only place he can solve his problem is going back to those people and addressing the issues. Now the problem comes when we, the people, start suffering. We, the people, don't have a state. We, the people, don't have an assembly. That is where the problem comes. So the politicians should solve their own issues, and we should try as much as possible not to have public conversations about these issues because we don't understand it. We were not there.
So are you in total agreement with Udens Eradiri? Udens Eradiri said Governor Siminalayi should go back and beg the political family that brought him in the first place. Are you in concord with that?
When it comes to politics, he has no choice than to do that, because that is politics. When it comes to politics, he has no choice, because the people on the streets who are suffering now, me and you, we are not part of the, let's say, PDP primaries process. So we can't even say, okay, we are bringing forth Sim to run again or to become the governor. The only people that can do that are the political class. Once a politician has, or a governor or a president has issues with his political family, then there's nothing he can actually stand on. It's just like he doesn't have a foundation to come and even speak to the people.
Okay, well, Wabi, a very clear point, Wabi, you've made there. And again, I'm going to ask again. Again, that is the point made by Wabi. Wabi said, look, when it comes to politics, Governor Simlai Fubara has no other option but to go back to that system that appointed him, that brought him in the first place, and apologize to the system. He said, otherwise, the public will continue to suffer because the public was not there when Governor Simlai Fubara was appointed in the first place. Well, let me ask this question. Do you toe the line of Wabie and also Engineer Udens Eradiri here? Let's take 2 more calls. Hello, good morning. Hello? Let's take this one. Hello, good morning, and thank you for joining us. Point blank.
Good morning, Segun, and good morning to the guests in the studio.
Thank you so much. Comrade Inside, good morning.
Segun, the man in that studio is God sent to the situation we find ourselves in. This situation we are. You see, the fact is that people doesn't want to hear the truth. The second man that spoke before I came in now also said it all. They say the secret and maxim of society is known by the initiates. Sin belongs to a political family. We should start the process all over. And he's disagreeing with the head of that political family. In the church, call it Salvation Ministry, call it OPM, call it whatever. That church is headed by a general overseer. If the format, the rule of that church is not followed, that member could be suspended from that church. So politics is. So let me say something extra. People are forgetting to know what the Niger Delta was going through when Amechi in 2015 told the line of the Northerners, and this same man stood with with Jonathan, and traversed the heat that faced the Niger Delta. And this same man converted the South to Jonathan in that vote in 2015. So let me say the last. You know the problem in this country and the problem of our state. When Odili was a governor, Odili golden governor, yeah. When Amechi come, they say, hey, Niger Delta, line of the Niger Delta. When Wike come, they say high tension. Today is safe. As soon as it leaves, people lack integrity. So on this side where they come, say no, inside the pot is there was potted. Okay. I want to repeat, people like us in Canada, they are what we call Constitution 1 and Constitution 2.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much, Comrade Inside. Thank you so much. I think you've made your point very clearly. You're listening to Point Blank. It's a very heated debate. Engineer Udens Eradiri is a 2-time commissioner in Bayelsa State, former IYC President General and former Secretary General IYC. He's held several positions, including being a special advisor on NDDC. And he feels that Governor Simlai Fubara has no other option but to go and apologize to the family that brought him in the first place, whichever way the governor decides to do it. And he said, even if it means kneeling down, he has to do it. And he said, the public should understand that this is purely politics and this is purely a PDP matter. He also feels that the role Governor Douye Diri of Bayelsa State has played is that of a meddlesome interloper, according to his word. And he says that Governor Douye Diri has an ulterior ambition, which is to become the vice president under the People's Democratic Party, allegedly, in 2027. And he needs River State, hence the role he has played. All of these are still in the realm of allegation. I'm going to be asking him a few questions, but don't forget, shortly, we'll be joining Prince Toye Prince-Will. Will be joining us from Caen in France. Prince Toye Prince-Will, politician, businessman, philanthropy, and now an international film producer. I will be asking him the journey from politics, history, and the legacy of filmmaking. We'll be speaking to that in the next couple of minutes. But back to Udens Eradiri and Engineer Udens Eradiri. Thank you so much for staying with us. So in wrapping up all of this thing, what part should we play? And again, a lot of people are saying that, well, maybe the reason why you are very, very harsh on Governor Douye Diri is because you don't seem to be in the same boat with Governor Douye Diri. How correct is that?
Well, that's partially correct because I am a victim of a sitting governor going to kneel down to beg to Wike and took power to win me and Silva in election. So people are talking about, oh, why should you go? A sitting governor, Wike alleged that Bayelsa governor knelt down to beg him.
You're talking about Governor Douye Diri.
Yes, I'm a victim. So when I'm telling you, you're saying that, why should the office of governor, our own governor went to kneel down to beg the same Wike to get the powers I used to win me in an election. And you expect me to follow this thing they are doing when I know what's happening? In Bayelsa State, let me tell you, the governor respected agreement. We have the longest serving commissioner in Nigeria. The commissioner for finance in Bayelsa served 2 terms with the former governor, and I've served 2 terms with this governor because of agreement. In Bayelsa State, they don't do more than 2 terms in assembly. Some people are doing 4th term in assembly because the governor respected his godfather and did not interfere. This is his 2nd term. 90% of his cabinet are people who were loyal to the former governor. So why are you encouraging another one, and then you are supporting your own, protecting your side, and encouraging in 3 months a sin to disrespect his own? So I am saying that I'm an interested party. When you are saying Sim should not go and beg, my own went to kneel down for this same Wike. Then when it is my turn, you say, no, I want to be friends with Wike. Yes, I want to be friends with Wike. Who doesn't want to be friends with Wike? The truth is that this matter is a political issue. Well, no matter how we talk about it, Governor Sim is in the house. So all those people raking, nobody have proffered solution on how to solve the problem. Rather, oh, why will you say that? Okay, why will you? What is your solution to it? You have seen that Wike is dealing a blow to the governors who betrayed the Niger Delta position. You are forgetting. North and South, North have done their own. We want to do our own. North have come to take the ticket. After 2027, will PDP also produce a Northern candidate for the presidency? When at that time, Asiwaju must have finished his turn and is going to the North. So the betrayal by governors of the Niger Delta is in the foundation of this issue. And when you say PDP, before we used to have just one party, PDP, everybody in the South. But today there is APC.
Okay.
There are other choices.
Engineer Udens Eradiri.
So the earlier Niger Delta people realize that there are other parties that we can work with, and that PDP is not in our DNA. The better for us. This problem is a PDP issue.
Actually, there's a whole lot of things. There's a lot of things I want to discuss, because again, in one of your interviews, you called that the People's Democratic Party in Bayelsa should collapse and join the APC. I don't know how you intend that to happen, but again, maybe that's a talk for another day. We'll be discussing that.
The APC supported the Bayelsa PDP to win the election now. In the night, they are hobnobbing with APC. In the daytime, they raise shoulder as Superman. So they should come out in the open and join it. Forget about all those grandstanding. They are just deceiving Niger Delta people.
Engineer Udens Eradiri, we're so happy to have you. And, well, maybe someday, let me even ask you this. Are you interested in contesting the governorship of Bayelsa State again? You did it on Labour Party. And you said they dealt with you. They showed you shaggy.
Yes, they show me shaking, because all those things they are preaching, integrity, all those things are nowhere to be found. They are all looking for money, and we will service them. So forget about all those things. Nigerians are not ready. When the Nigerians are ready, we will know. But all these parties and all these grand faces you see behind the scene, you'll be shocked at the experiences that you get. In my state, we operate rotational politics, where East, West, and Central. Douye Diri and me, we are from Central. We'll be finishing his term. So I don't want to distort it. Our state religiously follow that rotation, and it's going to the East. So I'm going to support, like I said, maybe I tried and it didn't work. Now I want to support too. Make myself work, make themselves work for me too now. So I want to work for people, support the system, and also benefit from it, so that I can express myself politically to distinguish myself. And when the opportunity comes, of course, I'll put myself forward. But the governorship is no longer for my senatorial district, so it's moving to the next. And so I will support my mate and a young person who I think that has capacity to do the job.
Engineer Udens Eradiri, 2-time Commissioner by Bayelsa State, and a former IYC President, former Secretary General IYC, and also served on NADC. We must thank you so much for joining us on Point Blank this morning. Thank you so much, Engineer Udens Eradiri. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
We're going to break. When we come back from the break, we'll be diving into history, politics, cinema, and legacy. From being a politician in River State, a philanthropist, and a very, very prominent businessman. Is now an international film producer, Prince Douye Diri. Stay with us. We'll be talking about that after this break on Point Blank.
Tired of the lies? Tired of the spin? Are you ready to hear the hard-hitting truth in a comprehensive, conservative, and principled fashion? Point Blank on Super FM 93.3 brings you all the news you need to know. Real conversations, real news, and one-on-one interviews with some of the most intriguing names in Rivers State, South Nigeria, and the country today. Unbiased analysis the way you wish still existed.
They're damaging the economy of the country. I'm not bothered about whether federal government is supporting us or not. Because if you cannot protect the lives of your people, then there's no governance.
From the news that dominates the headlines to the important topics below the fold, left, right, and center busts the opinion bubbles and echo chambers with genuine discussion and real talk.
Out of $500 million that President Douye borrowed for Abuja Kaduna, at the time I was speaking, we were paid over 100 and something million out of the $500 million.
Tune into Point Blank with Segun Owolabi every Saturdays 8:15 a.m. on Super 93.3 FM. Point Blank, civilized yet provocative.
Well, thank you so much for staying with us. So listening to Point Blank on Super 93.3 FM Port Harcourt. Right now, I'll be doing a deep dive into history, politics, cinema, and legacy. Join me as I have a conversation with Prince Douye Diri, Rivers State-born politician, philanthropist, entrepreneur, and now an international film festival. Let me give you a brief background. 10 years after the success of 76, Prince Douye Diri returned to the global stage with 77, The Festac Conspiracy, a gripping political thriller set during Nigeria's cultural rebirth of Festac 77, premiering this May at the prestigious Cannes Film Festival in France. And this is a huge success. Prince Douye Diri, good morning, and thank you for joining us on Point Blank.
Good morning, Segun. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
I mean, we're so excited. I mean, having our own Prince Douye Diri premiering his film 77 at the Cannes Film Festival, where you have all the glitz, all the big names in movie industry, and also not only that, Adonai, which is also from Rivers State, who is the producer of the film. But talk to us. What does this mean for you? What does it mean for Prince Douye Diri?
Well, it's exciting. You know, when I listen to the introduction, I hear from this to that. There's no from this. It's always been part and parcel of me. As you said, we did 76 10 years ago. 4 years before that, we did Nenda. So I've been in the industry for a while. It's not a transition from one thing to the other. I've always said that as a politician, politics is too important to be left to politicians. The whole point I was making when I was making those statements is that you have to be more than just a politician. So that when the politics is not doing what it's supposed to be doing, you can speak truth to power. You can tell them exactly what you feel, not when you are worried about how they feed you. You will now be asking yourself, should I speak or should I not speak? So yes, we do film, we do other things as well. You know, the idea is to constantly evolve, just like Nigeria should constantly evolve. This dependence on oil, this dependence on oil money, we need to go beyond that. So the same thing, we should not rely on only one thing. I was something before I went into politics. I will continue to be something after politics. And of course, even if we are something, it does not mean we should give up on the politics. That's why I keep saying politics is too important to be left to politicians.
But again, let us talk about what drives this journey. You said it's a continuous journey. So what drives it? How do you define your purpose today?
Well, the one word is impact. You want to continue to make an impact. That's why, you know, when I'm making the movies, I'm making movies that I believe will have an impact. If I'm going to make a movie, I'm thinking to myself, what message do we want to send? So whether it is Nenda, which said, you know, when was the last time you visited an orphanage? This was the tagline of the movie. When was the last time you visited an orphanage? And it drove a lot of people to go and visit orphanages. It drove a lot of people to realize that there's an orphanage next to your home. And so we want movies that send messages. The same thing for 76, the same thing for 77. These are powerful messages, not just for Nigerians, but for Africans, and of course, the wider global audience. So for me, the one single word that drives it is impact. So whether it is my foray into the movie industry, it's impact. What I'm doing in the hospitality industry, impact. What I'm doing in politics, impact. What I'm doing even in travel, tourism, impact. The hospital project that we've just set up in Lagos that we're now moving to open offices in Abuja, impact. The list goes on. So I'm constantly busy, constantly working, but looking for however it is that one can make impact. That's the most important thing.
But again, as a politician, because you say it's not that you're retired, it's not that you're moving from one thing, it's everything put together. How do you see, in what way do you see film as a tool for political or social influence, particularly for a country like Nigeria? I mean, look at 77, for example. You dive into the history. How can film be used as a tool for political or social influence in a country like Nigeria?
Well, look, the reality of it is that film is a very powerful medium. You can use film to correct narratives. You can use film to teach history. You can use film to explain situations. One day, all these things that are playing out, I'm listening to you talking about the politics of Rivers State and politics of Nigeria, and Bayelsa State included. One day, you will see somebody who will make a film about all these things. And I think, just like with politics, people have responsibility to tell the truth. One day, somebody will write about this history, and they might even twist the story differently. So we believe, and that's when I say we, I'm now talking about my co-producer, my co-executive producer, Adonai. We believe very strongly that we have a responsibility to tell the truth, to be accurate in our storytelling, and to use film as a medium to educate, to inform, to reorientate our audiences. And so tomorrow somebody's going to write about our politics, and it will be interesting to see what angle they take. I say this because I'll give you an example. Hotel Rwanda, which is a very popular film that many people watched and liked, told the story of a Hutu fellow who was helping the Tutsis who were facing genocide. It turns out that there were lots of inaccuracies with that story, and the government of Rwanda took exception to that story. And the question I asked when I was speaking to them was, so who is telling the correct version? Who is ensuring that this correct version is told? It's a digital world we're in now. And if you go on the internet and you put something, somebody several years later will look at that, make reference to it, and take it as accurate. So who is policing accuracy? Who is policing the truth? The truth of the matter is that it's an open system. And when you have an open system, it's susceptible to all sorts of interpretation. So I think that just like with politics, where you're trying to correct, make an impact, touch people's lives, you can do the same with film. And I'm excited that I can do both at the same time.
Well, of course, we must commend you, and again, what you're doing on the international scene. But again, I was just reflecting when you were saying all of this, and I'm in my mind, I was just contemplating. Do you think Nigerian leaders truly understand the power of cinema in nation building? You talked about Hotel Rwanda, but does it really matter to Nigerian leaders?
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think the leadership is doing enough, but I'm going to be honest with you. I might have differences with the Tinubu administration on a variety of things, but as far as the creative industry is concerned, I have to be honest, I'm very impressed by the kind of things that I'm seeing. For the first time, I saw a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria at Cannes to attend the screening of the first movie that was selected by the Cannes Film Festival, the first Nigerian movie, that was selected by the Cannes Film Festival. She was there, she was in full attendance. The Nigerian Film Commission actually selected 77 to take to the Cannes Film Festival, which is part of the reason we went, because we're saying if they're taking our movie, then we might as well go with the movie as well. So we're seeing a level of interest that we've not seen before. You know, it's a good start. It's not obviously nirvana yet, but we're seeing a lot of initiatives and indications that they're serious, or at least more serious about the creative sector than previous administrations. So that's good, but there is a general sense that everybody talks about the presidency, the presidency. I mean, the governors are important. Individual political leaders are important. We say we like film. We want to encourage the industry, but even we as individuals, how many of us have a Netflix subscription, or how many of us actually can afford to go and watch movies in the cinema? So these are some of the challenges, and until we can deal with all of these, filmmaking will still be a challenge. Absolutely no doubt, but a few steps in the right direction, but we need to see more.
Fantastic. I'm having a conversation with Prince Douye Prince. Prince Douye Prince is a River State-born politician, philanthropist, and entrepreneur, and now is an international film producer. His film 77 is making a debut at the Cannes Film Festival in France, and this is coming 10 years after the success of 76, which was also produced by Douye Prince, and a lot is going on. But again, when you brought this 77, what message would you say 77 carry for young Nigerians? Many of them don't even know the significance of 77. They don't even, I mean, my little daughter, if I tell about Festa 77, I say, Daddy, you are in an old age. How do you think this will impact young people?
Well, look, it's first, I mean, 76 obviously based on real events. Same thing with 77. Many people don't know about Festac 77. Most people don't realize that the National Theatre was built because of it. Most people don't realize that the area of Lagos called Festac was built to host the participants of the festival. Look, it's sad. The truth of the matter is that Nigeria today in 2025 cannot host a Festac. We don't have the capacity to host 56 countries. We would struggle to find accommodation for them. We would struggle to get them from their hotel or their locations to the various venues. We would be a logistical nightmare to host something like that. So, the truth of the matter is, for those of us who are in our current day, we need to go back to think about a situation where Black Africa was hosted in Nigeria. 56 countries were there, including Brazil, the Caribbeans, the USA. Stevie Wonder performed. It was a fantastic event, and most people don't know that this event happened. For those that do, for those of us that know about it, the truth of the matter was that a lot of things happened behind the scenes, and what 77 does is give you an insight into all of that. I don't want to give away the story, but for historical reference, for cultural significance, and if you support Douye Prince, I would suggest that you go and watch 76 if you haven't, and start to prepare for 77, because it's going to be a big blockbuster.
Well, fantastic. I'm also hopeful about that. I've seen 76. But again, it's very, very clear with your participation at the Cannes Festival, and also with what other Nigerians are doing, that the Nigerian cinema is clearly on the rise. But what do you think we need to do more to unlock the full global potential and full global impact of the Nigerian cinema?
Oh, yeah. So there's a lot we need to do. First of all, as individuals, I think we need to start to prepare to enter the industry. It's not easy, but there's training that can be obtained. You also need to start to research, ask questions. There's obviously no doubt that we don't have enough cinema screens. Yes, we need to improve the economy. But cinema screens don't necessarily need to be as expensive, especially if government takes an interest in it. Right now, I see people building cinemas, and they struggle to make income if they go at official bank rates. So definitely intervention funds like Bank of Industry, and other funds that I'm seeing coming up. Afrexim Bank also has a fund. These interventionist funds that have single-digit interest rates or slightly higher are obviously important. So we need to build more infrastructure, because if I bring out my movie today, how many cinemas can I put it in? How much money can I make in Nigeria? When I convert the naira to the dollar, what does it do for me? These are the core questions. But the government knows what the problems are. The government knows what the challenges are. And state governments also should look at it as an area they should invest in. People want to go for training. If I'm an actor and I act in a Hollywood production and I make $10 million, is that not a good investment if I have a government that has pushed me? Look at the Bonner Boys and Davidos of this world. Self-motivated, self-pushed, whatever way you want to describe it, is all about pushing themselves, not government pushing them. And look at where they are now, where Davido is shouting $30 billion in the account. The bottom line at the end of the day remains that this is an industry that can do well for itself. It employs people, young people, if I might add. And so we all need to invest in it as individuals, as institutions, as companies, and of course as government.
Fantastic. I'm having a conversation with Prince Toye Prince-Will, River State-born politician, entrepreneur, and now an international film producer. And his film 77.
Not now. I've always been a film producer. We keep saying now.
Well, Kane. I mean, going to the Kane. You're a celebrity. You know what I'm saying?
I wish.
I say you wish.
I'm one of the boys.
You're one of the boys. Okay, let's open the telephone lines, and for questions, 07050791021 and 08117431021, as well as female callers only 070-733-50623, and talking about movies and their parents of 77 other Canes. Hello, good morning. Thank you for joining us, Point Blank.
Yeah, my name is Tommy today.
Sorry, I didn't get your name, please.
Yes, I'm listening to you.
My apologies, but your line is a very bad one. Please turn down the volume on your radio set if you must call us. And also, you can send us WhatsApp message only to 090-5948-1021. Again, WhatsApp message only to 090-5948-1021. And those are the telephone numbers to call us up on. And also, you can send us message on our any of the social media platforms, and we'd like to get that. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us. This is Point Blank.
My name is Oswald from Lema.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't get your name, but I heard you're from LMA. Yes, talk to us.
Okay, Oswald.
Osaro. Good morning, Osaro.
Yes. I want to say again that it's like he has no space in the political circle. And that is why they are making switch into the industry he is now.
Okay.
But it's one of our favorite players in the political circle, while he was still playing politics actively.
Okay.
I'm asking, will you be back to play politics again? Or he has left for politics completely?
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. You feel he ventured into filmmaking because he has no space in the political circle. That's what you feel. All right. Let's take this one. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Thank you. My name is Miriam. I'm the Okrika woman.
Miriam, thank you for calling again.
Yeah, I greet your guests as well. Look, I always love it when I hear that river sons are doing well intellectually. Yeah, this is to show that we have so much to offer, irrespective of the kind of politics that is happening to us. Recently, one of our sons, an Okrika-born son named Iyo, won MCVA this award and as the best content creator. I was so proud and overwhelmed. And this is my son. Is one of my relatives, and I'm so proud. I want to ask your guest. Most times when we see movies, that were done in Port Harcourt, most times it is not as perfect as the ones produced in Lagos. I don't know why it is like that. And I want to ask him what is he doing to encourage so many so people that are interested. If you go to Uniport, we have the department of the people that act, creative arts, and all those theater arts. Sorry, what is being done? Because I heard someone told me that most times the people that come out of there most times don't even go to get the opportunity to do this acting, to follow their art desires. And most times the criteria and the fact for you to get there, you need to go through so many ill and in fact things that I can't even mention. For you to even act one movies, it takes so many processes, especially for the ladies. You have to do this, you have to do that. Is there any sin? Is there any hope? Okay. For our female graduates that are doing this? And what is it doing? Because there is one man that most times he comes and he opens up and he goes to radio stations that if you want to act, come here. If you want to act, come here. It's not from the east. I've forgotten his name. But he as a producer for a long time. What is he doing to encourage river citizens, river indigenous?
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Miriam. Thank you so much, Miriam. Let me just take 2 more calls before we come back to Tony Principal. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Could you turn on the volume on your radio set, please?
Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Gani Toba.
Chief Gani Toba, good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. The leader and the prince, good morning.
Good morning.
Well, my own is very simple. Prince Tony Princeway is a man that have character, and he has been doing well in many ways. So if we have people like Tony Princeway in authority, I think Nigeria and Niger Delta and River State will do well. So I believe Tony has done well in terms of politics. Everything he do is very honest in it, and he have also tried for a lot. Maybe a lot of people may not know. Tony has encouraged a lot of young Rivers people and Niger Delta to do well in different fields. Tony is not a man who say, okay, because you're on this field, he support different fields and make sure young Rivers people and Nigeria get better in their area.
All right. Thank you so much, Ugamtuba, and fantastic one there. Let's take one more. Hello, good morning. I'm so sorry. The line is muffled. Please, maybe you call us on another line. We apologize for that. Hello, good morning. Hello. Hello. Well, again, that's a very bad line, and apologies. Please, if you could do us a WhatsApp, if you're not getting through, please do that. Good morning. Yes. Okay. What's the name again?
Jemima, calling from.
Jenima, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Yes.
Jemima, calling from Akbajo.
All right, fantastic. From Akbajo, thank you so much. Go ahead with your question. Hello.
Hello.
Okay, so that's that. Prince Tony Principal, let's come back to you now. Again, if you're just in, we're having a conversation with Prince Tony Principal. Someone said, maybe because you didn't have it so good.
No, I had the questions. Let me just quickly answer them so that we can get more people talking. Osaro was saying that maybe I was a bit unemployed, or so it appears. This is part of the reason why I keep saying when you say now turned film producer, you are part of the problem, because you make it look like I've just become a film producer. But so Osaro, this is not the case. I've produced 10 years ago. When I did that, I was actively engaged in the politics, and before that, I did Nenda, and I've done other movies in between. So because it appears I'm being introduced now as a film producer and less as a politician, people think that I'm doing it because I'm just quiet. In the Bible, it says, Ecclesiastes 3, it says that there is a time to be silent and there is a time to talk. I hope I've built the next generation of people that talk, and we should be able to sit back, clap, and encourage them. I think that I'm now in a generation that speaks up a lot more, and I'm happy that a lot of the things that I would have been saying, they are saying. So there's not a lot I need to come and start talking about. Most people know the truth about what is going on, and they don't need to be educated. But I'm more of an action person. I've always said it that I don't like to play victim and complain all the time. And so, Osaro, I'm not unemployed. I'm still actively involved in the politics, but I'm an elder statesman as we speak right now. And so I can afford to sit back and watch the rest do the talking. As for Muriel, I think, first of all, thank you very much for the words of encouragement. To see our sons doing well in various fields. I believe that when people talk about Rivers State, especially when I travel around the world, they sometimes call me, they look at me and they shake their head. And I ask them why are they shaking their head? And they say that the impression we have of Rivers State is not what we see when we talk to you. And I said to them that there are many good, lovely, fantastic people in Rivers State. And Rivers State is still a blessed state. In fact, it's because of its blessing that there's so much attention attached to it. So there's no need for anybody to be sad for Rivers State. We're going through what is temporary. It will pass, but the core of Rivers State remains intact, and it will rise and shine without a shadow of a doubt. So I'm grateful for your words of encouragement. I do a lot of support. Of course, if you watch 77, you'll see a lot of Rivers actors from different parts of Rivers State. My co-executive producer is half Ikwere, half Okrika. So he's your brother as well. And we have very powerful actors from different parts of the state involved in this movie. I'm happy because we've used our movies to build. We always make sure that as we're casting people, we have our Rivers brothers and sisters as part of the production, so that as time goes on, they can move on to other things. And many of them have done so. Some of them started off as assistant directors. Some did follow come. They are now actors in their own right. So we're constantly building talent. I appreciate Gani for his very kind words. Gani is somebody who I'm very proud of. I appreciate his support. There was somebody, I think Jezima from Makbaju, and to me the real message is that we just want to continue to encourage the young people, do what we can to help them, but as far as the politics is concerned, we're there, we're watching, we're taking note, and we want a situation where we move beyond talk to action. So when that time comes, you will see me.
And talking about action, let's look at the next 5 years. What's your vision for Adonis production? Will you be telling more historical story, contemporary stories? And are we likely to see Toye Prince involved in historical stories concerning River State?
Oh yes, definitely. I'm glad you asked that question. I was speaking to some of my Calabar brothers yesterday, and I was saying to them that what I'm doing now is just a build-up. It's like a warm-up to future productions. We have stories already. We have a story about something that happened in Port Harcourt, true life thing that happened in Port Harcourt. I'm going to keep it under wraps, but that is coming very soon. We've already started pre-production for a musical. And just to let you know that 77 was shot in Lagos, Calabar, and Lebanon. Muriel was asking, why are some of our productions not as good? Well, we, as far as we're concerned, we represent Port Harcourt, we represent Rivers State. So when they are talking internationally or even nationally, they know that there are some Rivers people that come out with quality productions. So we do not, as some of you may know, we do not believe in second class or low standard. We believe in high quality, high standard. So we know that when it comes to high quality, high standard, Port Harcourt, Rivers State can be proud, not just at the national level, but also international level. We won so many AMVCA awards for 76, including costume design, set design, director, actor, of course, best picture, and in 2016. So we have a lot of YMVC awards to show people, and we want to encourage people, not just politics and talk. Even in the politics, more action than talk, and then look for other things outside of politics so that you can tell politicians to go to hell if need be.
I like that. Now, but still talking about this, of course, we all know that Kane is a global stage. And what kind of feedback are you hoping to receive from this premiere?
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, the feedback has been fantastic. Obviously, we can't mention names. We already have an offer for the film.
Oh, nice.
When you think that 76 brought in over $3 million, you can imagine the kind of this thing. It's high expenditure, high revenue. high quality. If you're smart about it, you can not only put money, you can also raise money, because there's money in filmmaking. So we're here with the best of the best. We are pushing our movie in the marketplace of the best, and we're impressed by the attention we've gotten from, of course, the America, France, UK, Australia, the Nordic countries. Our distributor said he has never had to fight off so many sales agents for one film. So all of them are trying to get in on the 77 Act. It means that they're saying, so there are good movies like this in Nigeria. It means they're coming to Nigeria. It means they're looking for more content. It means that we will shoot more content. It means we'll have more actors, we'll have more directors, more producers. I mean, this movie alone employed over 400 people.
Wow, that's
So
amazing.
if you think about one movie employing 400 people, then giving them the opportunity to go and get other jobs, then it tells you that there is something there. And for those people that look down on actors and look down on entertainment people as being jobless and so on and so forth, we've seen from the Burna Boys of this world, the Davidos, the Omalays, the Duncan Mighties, Mr. 2Ks, the long list of people and actors, of course, like too numerous to mention, that you can actually make a living from arts. I'm a science person. My co-executive producer is a science person. We're engineers, but I'm also a business person, and I'm a politician. So I have a heart for the people. I have a brain for numbers, and I also have a passion for fixing things. So the combination means then that we can go into film, make money from film, and then make the next film, make the next film. So I'm not coming into the industry just to have fun. I'm coming as a businessman to make money and to build the next production and the next production and the next production.
That's commendable. If you've been listening, you're listening to Point Blank, and I'm having a conversation with Prince Douye Prince, who is a politician, a businessman, and an international film producer. Prince Douye Prince, so we cannot wrap up this conversation without talking politics. And of course, you heard the first guest, and we said so much about what is going on in River State. Now we hear that reconciliation is going on. A lot of people are kicking against the process of the reconciliation. Well, while some people say, well, anything as long as reconciliation is done, it's okay. Which school are you in? Which of the camp? Anything reconciliation, or this reconciliation must be done in this way? What's your take?
Oh yeah, my take is that without a shadow of a doubt, there needs to be reconciliation. I mean, look, politics is a blood sport. If you can't stand the heat, you stay out of the kitchen. The bottom line at the end of the day is that, politics is rough. So you will see things that are not pleasant. And if you want to make change, you have to be prepared to get your hands dirty. Now, why do I say this? Sim, is, I hope, not going to be shouting victim, victim, victim. In this thing, it's do me, I do you. All right? So he has done people before. They will do him. He will do them back. Today you win, tomorrow you lose. The bottom line is that you have to be very smart in this game. You have to be ready. If you want to play it, that people will come after you. They will play all sorts of dirty tricks on you. You have to be ready for it. There's no point shouting, oh, look at what they did to me. You do them back. Okay? So for now, we're seeing a situation where in his own political family, he's now in a situation where he, I think, is realizing that, he needs to take a step back. I met him. I had an opportunity of meeting him in the build-up to my father's funeral. And I told him that at the time, it wasn't this bad. I said to him, if there's any advice I can give you, please don't fall into any issues with your boss, Wike. Just try as much as you can to work with him. It's too early. It's too soon. Work with him in spite of. That's the reality of it, because the system that brought him is a system that many of us were not happy with. Okay? So now that he has fallen out of the system, we should not suddenly be happy. The reality of it at the end of the day is that system that brought him, we're not happy with that system. And so now that that system has gone foul of him, we should not suddenly be happy with the system that brought him. The reality of it at the end of the day is that they need to make peace, because when the elephant fights, it's the grass that suffers. We are in the situation we're in. They need to find a way of an accommodation. I think the first accommodation that was made was too lopsided. The accommodation needs to recognize that he's the governor. And I keep saying it to people. I say, look, even what happened with this emergency rule is because some of us decided to stay quiet. If we had spoken up, if we were serious, the emergency rule would never have happened. And if we want it lifted tomorrow, it will be lifted. But I often say that the people you are fighting for are not even prepared to fight for themselves. So where some of us can survive with or without government, where what they do in Abuja or in the brick house does not affect us, the people that it affects are not even bothered. The people that it affects are not even complaining. They are not saying anything. And then they want those of us that it affects the least to be the ones to make the most noise. It doesn't happen that way. So part of the reason we're quiet is we're watching to see what other people who it impacts on most are going to do about it. Because whether it is Tinubu, whether it is Wike, whether it is Akpabio, whether it is all the people at decision-making level, all of them can be reached. All of them can be spoken to. All right? But we just like talking. And I'm unfortunately for people like you, Segun, I am not interested in talking. Whether it be on radio or TV or newspapers, not interested in talking, because people talk too much. When it comes to time to take action, you will not see them. So I've deliberately stayed in the background, but the advice I was able to give, same, please avoid the fight. Unfortunately, that advice did not go very far, and we saw the fight. Right now, the reality remains that if they want to fight each other, and Sim can still fight and do all sorts, but it will be counterproductive. So they need to come to some kind of an accommodation, a fair accommodation, because a peace that is not a just peace will not last. So there should be some fair accommodation. They should get some level of normalcy. Let our state move forward, because the current state of play is not acceptable. So that peace, I think, is inevitable. And let it be something that there will be no winners, no losers, just a peace that will move our state forward.
And fantastic, well said, Prince Toye Principal, and we must thank you so much. And I'm hoping that with this visit to Kane, I know you'll be going to London, we will hope one of these days we'll see some of those celebrities in Port Harcourt, where we can have a big festival in Port Harcourt. Are you looking forward to that?
Oh yeah, I mean, definitely. So I'm moving from France here to London, from London to East Africa, from East Africa to Lagos, and then to Port Harcourt to come and rest for some time. Let me get cool breeze from Buguma. So I'll be back in Nigeria in about 2 weeks' time. But yeah, so definitely there's festivals. There's a festival already in Rivers State, which is slowly getting its energy, and we will see, of course, that increase and improve over the years. This is the 78th Cannes Film Festival. So you can imagine 78 years of this thing. So it takes time to get to the kind of level where you have a grade A festival. It's built over years. And so eventually we'll get there. But my happiness is that, as Muriel said, that University of Port Harcourt Arts Theatre, that is where a lot of the core talent that we're seeing in our Nollywood today, that's where they came from. That's where they emanated. Even I, as a young boy growing up in University of Port Harcourt, my father being a professor at the time, I was privileged to be part of the audience at the Crab. Even went as far as performances there. That probably was where my love for movies and theaters also emanated, and I was a good student of Professor Olarotimi, not in the classroom but in the house, because I was friends with his children, and of course I spent a lot of time in their house.
Fantastic.
So hopefully we will continue to do more.
Fantastic. And thank you so much, Prince Tony Prince Will. Thank you for joining us. And congratulations again for the feat at the Kings. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, Segun.
You're listening to Point Blank. This is Super 93.3 FM Port Harcourt. We'll go on a break. When we come back from the break, our last leg of discussion this morning, there is a young group in River State that is embarking on an initiative to improve on the reading culture. And this group is doing so much, moving from one place to the other, encouraging literacy amongst young people. We'll be talking to you about that. Stay with us after the break on Point Blank.
Tired of the lies? Tired of the spin? Are you ready to hear the hard-hitting truth in a comprehensive, conservative, and principled fashion? Point Blank on Super FM 93.3 brings you all the news you need to know. Real conversations, real news, and one-on-one interviews with some of the most intriguing names in River State, South Nigeria, and the country today. Unbiased analysis the way you wish still existed.
They're damaging the economy of the country. I'm not bothered about whether federal government is supporting us or not. Because if you cannot protect the lives of your people, then there's no governance.
From the news that dominates the headlines to the important topics below the fold, left, right, and center busts the opinion bubbles and echo chambers with genuine discussion and real talk.
Out of $500 million that President Douye borrowed for Abuja Kaduna, at the time I was speaking, we were paid over 100 and something million out of the $500 million.
Tune into Point Blank with Segun Owolabi every Saturdays 8:15 a.m. on Super 93.3 FM. Point Blank, civilized yet provocative.
Well, thank you so much for staying with us. This is Point Blank, and welcome to the concluding leg of the show. Now, talking about improving literacy and the reading culture amongst young people. A particular group known as Clenstein Foundation for Literary Study has embarked on campaign and is currently going on campaign to schools and several other places to call for improvement in literacy. And we'll be having the executive director of Clenstein Foundation for Literary Study, Isrim Goodluck. And Isrim Goodluck is also a journalist in River State. Good morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Segun, for having me.
Fantastic. Good morning. Good morning. So talk to us about what you do at Clenstein Foundation for Literary Studies.
All right, Segun, like you know, it's an advocacy for improved education, not just on the side of the students, where we expect to take their studies seriously. It's also on the part of government, as it has to do with the issue of a proper and adequate funding of education. You and I know that over the years, the major problem that we've had in the education sector is the fact that government have not been able to meet up with its own part of the contribution, which is proper funding for education. But in recent time, we've also discovered that we have a bigger problem, which has to do with the lack of determination and zeal amongst young people, to make good use of the opportunity their parents and guardians are giving to them, by asking them to go to school. And to us, that's a more serious concern to us. And so that's why we decided to come up with this idea to see how we can, bring back the reading culture, go back to those days where, like I keep saying, the bragging rights of any student, was the number of books you have been able to read, especially during holidays. You know that when you're going back to school, a lot of people have read a lot, and you have to meet up in the course of conversations and all. So what we are doing is we go around schools, talk to students on career building, and then also tell them, of course, we use literature as a tool, to tell them how to improve their minds. You can agree with me that most of the problem we have in the society today is as a result of poor education. A lot of people go to school, but they don't go to school the proper way. A lot of people went to school just to read and they pass their examination. And we are talking about those kind of readings that you invest in yourself, read extensively, read across board to ensure that your mind is developed to the level where you can hold conversations, prefer the little solutions that you can. Because I believe that one major fact that education is all about is that issue of critical thinking. And it's only when we have people that are critical thinkers that most of the problems that have bedeviled the society, can actually be solved. And so that's exactly what we are doing. We are going around schools, also telling parents, to play their own part by ensuring that their children read books whenever they come back from school, even on holidays. Buy your child a book. Very soon we're going to launch a campaign called Buy a Child a Book campaign. For parents to live up to expectations and stop lording over some of this, giving some of their responsibilities to their teachers, in school, where you have to also ensure that your child is reading apart from what he or she is being taught in school. That's what we are lacking in society of recent, which of course is why we are seeing most young people who no longer believe that there is light at the end of the tunnel as it has to do with educational pursuit. That's why most of them have taken to several other vices like involvement in internet fraud and all. And so we need to go back to the drawing board. There's need for us to go back to the drawing board as a people, to educate our people intentionally in our little way. And I believe that the going back to the culture of reading will actually help us, to restore the sanity in the society.
A fantastic move your foundation is involved in, Kleinstein Foundation. But again, a lot of young people will say, where is the motivation? Just recently, I was reading an interview where a professor said the salary for a professor is about 500,000 or less than 500,000. A first-class graduate, University of Benin, was given a very paltry sum of money as a gift. And meanwhile, one small Yahoo boy would do one thing and will be driving GLK, or what do you call it? So where's the motivation?
All right, Shego, I've always blamed this on the failure in our institutions. Like I keep saying, when I was born, I grew up to know that institutions like the schools, the hospitals, the churches and all, those institutions that were preserved over decades and centuries, and we actually saw them. And the society naturally expects us to add value to whatever we see on ground. I don't know if you understand. That's how those institutions have survived over this decade. But we live in a generation where some of those things are gradually being destroyed. And that's why you are asking the question of where is the motivation. The people no longer see education for what it is. People no longer see, for example, the reason why they have to equip hospitals. That's one of the major setbacks that we're having in a medical health institution that has led to this mass exit of our health personnel. And so we are asking that government at all levels should pay attention to our institutions. Equip the funding for university, as you and I know, for example, it takes care of the teaching and non-teaching staff. It also provides for establishment of laboratories and e-libraries, as it were, in today's world. Also, those are some of the things that are lacking in our university. And so if government, sticks to their own bit and provides what they are supposed to, I mean, the students that are gradually losing, that their morals are low now, as you're saying, will actually pick up from there. For example, sometime last week I saw a photo of a dilapidated school structure somewhere in a chain. I didn't believe that people are still learning under such more conducive environment. We saw students sitting on the floor, and that's not what we are supposed to be doing at this time as a people. And so those are some of the areas where we are saying that government should also, do their part for students and teachers as well, to be well motivated. But
again, are government doing it? For example, look at the budget presented to the National Assembly for Rivers State, over 1.4 trillion naira. And I think about 70-something billion is for education. One was thinking that education should have even taken the largest chunk. Don't forget, UNICEF made a particular quota that this is the amount, this is the percentage from your budget that you should put into education. So, fantastic. While you're doing this job of encouraging young people to read, parents encourage their children to read, government policies, are they really encouraging?
Yeah, there's this saying about education. People define education as the bedrock of the society. What that simply means that the level of development you see in any society largely depends on the attention and priority government gives to education. But that's not the story here in Nigeria or Rivers State. I can't really tell when this decline, started becoming very obvious. But I know that in 2014, during the reign of Rotimi Amechi, Rivers State was UNESCO's World Book Capital. So I don't know what at the point where this decline started coming, and a lot of people started feeling discouraged. Especially students, like I keep saying. If you engage some of these students, ones in SS2, SS3, as at today, they will tell you that, my brother, education is, we go to school because we want to make money. So if I can make money when I'm in SS2 and SS3, why do I stress myself to go to the university? So they have redefined education to be that process which you just go through, to make ends meet, without understanding what education does to the mind. Because without people being ardent readers, I don't think we can make any headway in the society. We only have a lot of people, like I keep saying, that went to school to acquire certificates. A lot of people have PhDs, but they can't even solve problems as little as a quarrel between the husband and the wife. That was what one of my friends said in the course of our conversation. And you keep asking, what are we doing with all these certificates? Somebody told me that until people that are educated begin to see themselves, either consciously or unconsciously, aligning themselves with that inaugural speech of JF Kennedy in 1961, where he said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. That is, there's supposed to be this consciousness for people to give back to the society, no matter how little. You don't need to be in public office for you to achieve that. You need just like me now. I'm not in any public office. I'm a journalist just as you are. Of course, everybody knows what the average journalist takes home. But I believe that if people can join me in this advocacy, people can actually do this, the little I'm doing in their different localities, I think we will have a change. I think we really need to go back to those days where an adult will see something and say something about a derailing child. That's exactly what we're advocating.
Fantastic. I'm having a conversation with Insirim Goodluck. Insirim Goodluck is the Executive Director of Kleinstein Foundation for Literary Study, and this foundation is involved in bringing back the reading culture. And they're making visitation to schools and several other institutions, campaigning that parents should encourage their children to read books. And they said, don't leave your children in the hands of teachers. Motivate them to read books. And again, I'm having this conversation. Insirim Goodluck is also a journalist. But again, Insirim, again, while you talk about, yes, the challenges, a lot of people even say, where are the books? Secondly, the advent of internet, social media. You see young people, they will go to chat GTP.
Okay.
Ask them to read a book. They'll just go there, tell me all about this book, and you don't even need. It will give you everything. Download the book for you, and you don't even need to read the book again.
Well, that's where people approach technology, with the wrong mindset. Like I keep saying, this generation, people who call the Gen Zs, they are like the highest beneficiary of science and technology.
True.
And they are still the ones that are not, taking it seriously to know that these things are products of critical thinking, like I keep saying. And so, what we are seeing is that a lot of people are being distracted. On the social media space you just talked about, that's where the distraction is coming from. Rather than go for the search engines to equip yourself, intellectually, a lot of people will take to go into Instagram to see who those that are, traveling from Maldives to Malta, how they are living their lives large, without asking what exactly did they do. That kind of wealth that doesn't have any definition, that doesn't have, you can't place a finger at how this whole process started. Those are the kind of lifestyle that young people are, tending to embrace. And it's actually very troublesome for the society. So that's why I said everybody should, not just the parents. When I was growing up in a society, in my community, if I come back from school and I have to walk from my house to anybody's house, 2 to 3 of my uncles must have seen me. Where are you going? The only way you can go out is that you have a note in your hand. Probably you can just give an excuse that you want to go and copy note, but not just moving around as a student. But these days, people take delight in seeing other people's children, derailing and feeling that my own children are going to be their leaders tomorrow. That thinking alone is what endangers the society. Because if you don't say something when you see something, those children that you think are derailing and your children are going to be their leaders might actually become the weapons of destruction that your children will have to be afraid of when they grow up. And so that's why we believe that it's collective.
So tell us the level of encouragement you've received as a result of your campaigning. And again, what are the things that you think policymakers need to begin to look at? Let's begin from Rivers State.
Okay, I think, like I said, first of all, we have to engage teachers properly.
Wow, okay.
I've been to a school where they said a child in SS1 told me that he has not learned mathematics for the past 2 years. And that's because the mathematics teacher either retired or she passed on. They just stopped seeing her. I don't know if you understand. And so the government has not taken it upon themselves to have a proper record of their staff strength, talking about teachers, to know when they have retired. Because annually teachers retire. I hope you know that. And there are no replacements for some of those people that retire, which creates those lacunas that you see in the communities where they will say that children went to school, there are no teachers. And all of that. And so I think the state government, different state governments, through the Ministry of Education, should take it upon themselves to ensure that those kind of lacunas do not occur. Because you can imagine a child not learning mathematics from SS1 then to SS3. By UNESCO standards, you are shortchanging that. You are shortchanging that child, and it's not the child's fault that the person maybe writes WAEC and fails. It's because the government refused to do the right thing. So these are some of the policies that I think that the government, employment, especially for teachers. We know how critical teachers are in our society, the kind of important role teachers play. My mother was a teacher. She retired some years back. And like I keep saying, I know how she used to complain about teachers that have retired, and there will just be this 2 to 3 weeks, there will not be any teacher that is taking students, and you have to write to the ministry, and before they will now transfer somebody else who will agree to come to that place and all. These are some of the things that is as if we're not getting it right in our locality here, as it has to do with secondary and primary education.
Fantastic. You're listening to Point Blank, and Interim Goodluck is the Executive Director of Kleinstein Foundation for Literary Studies, and we're asking him questions. This foundation has been embarking, going grassroots, moving from school to school, public, private schools, educating people on the need to read. We just asked a couple of questions through telephone. Let's get back to this. Good morning. Hello? 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 Okay, we seem to have some challenge there. Now, don't forget the telephone lines 070-5979-1021 and 081-174-31021, as well as 070-733-50623. So, talk to us. Good luck. What is the next plan in the next 1-2 years for Kleinstein Foundation, particularly on this journey you've embarked upon?
Okay, like I said, we are taking it one step at a time. Immediately after the launching of the Buy a Child a Book, we intend to...
Okay, that's a campaign, Buy a Child a Book.
Yes, Buy a Child a Book. We are launching that before the end of the year. We intend to take the literary competitions that we actually unveiled sometime in March. We're taking it to different schools, to get government schools to be precise. I am a very realistic person. I'm one who believes that most of the children in private schools have already, to a large extent, their parents have already defined their future to a large extent.
You think so?
Yes. I am a product of a private school. But I know what I see today at government levels, where most students live with their aunts and uncles who would rather see them, do some home chores from whenever they come back from school to the next day they go back to school. Those are the kind of people we have as our target audience. We want to see how we can reach them, talk to them, give them some career tips, telling them to hold forth that, of course, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. And so we're going to be taking this debate to schools. We're going to be taking it to schools to see how we can revive that reading culture. I'm sure you know what it feels like when you hear that this school is going for a competition. That might be the only time some schools will have to prepare their students because of the level of laxity we have seen in public schools today. And so I think we need to revive that. That's one of the plans we have in the pipeline, and then we're going to be taking it round, and we believe that the general public will actually reckon with what we're doing.
We must congratulate you. Thank you so very much, and thank you for coming to studio to talk to us about this. In the coming days, particularly when you embark on Buy a Child a Book campaign, we'll be talking more to you, and we'll be finding out how this campaign is doing.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Interim Goodluck is the Executive Director of Kleinstein Foundation for Literary Studies, and this group has embarked on a campaign on bringing back the reading culture, and also on the need for the public to focus on improving the level of education in our society. Once again, thank you so much, Interim Goodluck. Thank you for coming on Point Blank.
Thank you very much, Segun, for having me.
Yeah. Coming up next, the Horizon. Horizon is a security watch program, and it'll be coming up shortly. And thank you so much for staying with us on Point Blank. Our big thanks to Engineer Udens Eradiri, to Prince Tony Princeville, and also to Interim Goodluck. Join us next week on Point Blank.